Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Crystal. Good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm feeling hot, sticky, sweaty, and I don't know what you call it. I just feel like crap this morning. I've got up. I just feel extremely hot, and I get easily annoyed when I feel like this. I just do. I just don't feel great this morning. But good morning, everybody. I hope you all have a great day today. It's Wednesday morning, the middle of the week. Don't get me wrong, I love sunny weather, but when it's been like this for quite a while, yesterday was too hot for me. Too hot to walk in. Last night was unbearable. Um, so yesterday evening I took Max out for a walk and there was hardly anybody about. I'm not surprised, it was so hot. Yesterday afternoon must have been one of the hottest afternoons I've ever taken this year. Max out for a walk. As soon as I got outside and I made a few steps across the road and up towards the field, I just wanted to come back. It was too hot for me, absolutely too hot for me, and I didn't like it at all. But it's hot inside as well. I've got 3 fans on at the moment and I'm still boiling. 3 fans. It must be about 24 degrees inside this flat at the moment, and last night was unbearable to sleep in. It was. I had to put myself right near the fan blowing in my face and over my body. It was absolutely awful. So yeah, I took Max out for a walk. There was one guy, just one man, jogging around the field. He was jogging around the field. Just this one guy, really suntan guy, jogging around the field, bare chested with a pair of black shorts. When I went out in the evening, next door was not noisy. I mean, you can't help it in this heat, so I'm not moaning or complaining. You can't help it in this heat, can you, to make noise? Everybody's window was wide open. So you expect that, so I wasn't bothered. I was making a bit of noise myself. So I went outside my flat door and all I heard was, David, 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 next door. And then I went downstairs and I went out round the back, and there's this brown teddy with its tongue sticking out. I'm not joking. It was there yesterday afternoon, and it was there when I went out last night. There's a brown dog with its tongue hanging out, a soft toy. And these lads are going, David, 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 and I'm not turning round. My name's not David. I just kept yelling it. Crossed over the road, completely ignored it, went round the back of the flats, and it's always busy because of the co-op. The local co-op is 2 or 3 minutes up the road, so it's always busy, yeah. So you've got people coming in and out of the co-op, people underneath the railway bridge, coming off the railway station, going onto the railway. But there was no one on that field at all when I went on there. Nobody. It's just this guy jogging around the field, and he was jogging around the field last year. I remember him. Just a couple of people came onto the field as I was coming off, and then I just walked back home. It's like walking through a desert. So hot, No, Max. Came back into my flat and I just couldn't settle the heat. It was so hot. I tried to concentrate. You can't concentrate on anything because all you want to do is keep cool. And then when you keep cool, if you have a cold shower, you get sticky and hot afterwards again. So the whole of yesterday was trying to keep cool, keep hydrated and keep cool out of the hot sun. And the hot sun, if you don't put sun cream on and protect your skin, you know, you could get some horrible things happen, like really, really bad sunburn, or even, you know, skin cancer. So you know what I mean? I don't want to get overheated and I don't want to get sunburnt. But you still want to go out, but you need to keep yourself protected and keep yourself hydrated because you can faint in this weather as well. Faint in it. My mum said she didn't feel well yesterday, and that's probably because it's hot. So I just wait till all the noise dies down and then everyone's gone to bed, then I go to bed really. I haven't got anything to do anyway, so I put an old Ewan McGregor film on, Rogue Trader. Ewan McGregor, Scottish actor, is really, really good. And I just put this old film on out on my projector, so it was like sitting in the cinema with the picture across the wall and watching Rogue Trader. And that's what I did. I just sat and watched Rogue Trader, and it went off, and then I went to bed. And I've got up this morning just after, it's about 20 to 8, and the recycling bin men banging around in the bin store with the recycling bin. I was awake already, just listening to the recycle bin blokes banging around in the bin store. And I've got myself up, I've made myself a cup of herbal tea, I've fed my pets, watered my plants and brought my clothes in. And my clothes are dry, which is good. I hung my clothes on the dryers on the balcony, so my clothes are dry. Just sat in front of the fan trying to keep cool and drinking fluid. I know this is Pepsi, I like a can of Pepsi, but I am drinking loads of water as well. I've got no plans for today. I don't want to really walk around looking in shops and things in this heat. I don't want to do that. Just, you know, loads of bodies in shops, the heat. No, I don't really want to go for a walk in it either. Hot, sweaty, sticky. And everything melts in this weather, doesn't it? The ice creams. All your drinks heat up. I just don't like it. Not when it's excessively hot. Years ago, people used to like sun tanning, but now, with the scare of skin cancer and the sun's rays, they're so hot. I don't want to sunbathe either. It bleaches your hair. It does. Anyone that dyes your hair, it bleaches it. So if you've got dye in your hair, it bleaches it. makes it go lighter. So guys, Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. On this day in 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte faced off against the British and Prussian forces by a little farm in modern-day Belgium. I don't want to give away the outcome, but you could say that he finally faced his Waterloo.
Alexa, what's the date today?
Good morning, Crystal. It's Wednesday, the 18th of June.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
It's 8:27 a.m.
Alexa, what's the weather outlook?
Currently, in Rochester it's 19 degrees Celsius with clear skies and sun. Today, you can expect mostly sunny weather, with a high of 28 degrees and a low of 15 degrees.
28 degrees. Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
What do you call a strawberry that uses foul language? Very rude.
Alexa, which celebrity was born on this day?
Celebrities born on the 18th of June include Paul McCartney, Scooter Braun, Uday Hussein, Richard Gasquet, and Isabella Rossellini.
For anybody that doesn't know, Paul McCartney was part of the Beatles' most famous pop group. Alexa, how old is Paul McCartney? She's whispered that. He's 73 years old, Paul McCartney. Alexa, how old is Paul McCartney?
Paul McCartney is 83 years old.
Sorry, he's 83. Excuse me, he's 83. She whispered it. She's got a sense of humour, Alexa. Sometimes whispers things so you can't hear them. So Paul McCartney is 83 years old. He's older than my mother. My mum, who is 79. My dad died when he was 75. It's just the luck of the draw, isn't it, really? Just this. So guys, just going to take today as it comes. Yesterday was fun with the live stream on TikTok. Alexa, LBC Radio.
LBC London from Global Player.
Was out to sea. For the purpose of debate, 10 are cleared, 10 are not. What are you going to do with those 10?
What, the 10 cleared or the 10 not cleared?
10 not cleared. 10 cleared go to Dover.
Well,
10 not cleared.
I'm sorry, Nick, but the old days of police and military, they go back.
But
they
France
go
will
back to
take
the
them,
EU.
Steve. That's,
How much
you're
money are we
right.
paying
You
into
are
the system
right.
in France? How much money are we paying to keep French police on the streets, on the beaches, to keep them off?
£480 million.
I am not being antagonistic, racist by any means whatsoever, but it's a problem that we've got to stop, and we've got to stop it yesterday.
I agree with you. The day before yesterday, but again, sir, and you, look, you're far more skilled in this area now. You've done it. And you've been brave enough to do it, but they're not going to take them back, Steve.
Well, I'm sorry, then we need a tougher government. I've listened to governments for many, many years now in telling me what to do. Unfortunately, we've got to see realistically values here and what's going on in our own country and what we're bringing to our country. We have people in this country that we don't know who they are. They come from all walks of the thing. Personally speaking, from a military background, I think one day somebody's going to say, okay, now's the time, rise up. That's my personal opinion from.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. Thank you for your service on both fronts, Steve. Your input on that. We'll continue with that conversation. Also, coming up after the news, I'm going to tell you the terrible state of HS2, the billions of pounds that have been wasted, the years that will be added now before the first train ever trundles down the track, and the ministerial committee set up under the Conservatives the task force that didn't even meet, not once. Housing Minister Matthew Pennycook told me,
we know there was serious problems with HS2, both in terms of accountability, project overruns, costs. There are real lessons to be learned from that.
Oh, I know that expression, but the HS2 story is one of abject failure and almost, I think, a laughing stock for this country. It's 8:30. Breakfast with me, Nick Ferrara, on LBC. The news with Thomas Watts.
President Trump is considering direct US involvement in strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. He's been holding emergency talks with senior military advisors about joining Israel's operation. A government minister has told Nick that HS2 has made the UK a laughingstock on infrastructure. It's expected to be delayed again beyond its current target date of 2033. Figures released this morning show the rate of inflation stood at 3.4% in May. That's higher than economists had expected, as rising food prices offset a drop in airfares and transport costs. LBC weather: England and Wales dry with very warm sunshine, cloudier across Scotland and Northern Ireland, a high of 28 degrees.
This is LBC.
Many dentists refer their own patients on to Darwood and Tanner.
My name is Dr. Mark Kent. I'm a general dental practitioner practicing in a North London suburb. Darwood and Tanner have become my preferred referral practice. I feel that Dr. Andrew Darwood can provide the highest level of implant surgery that is available, together with giving my patients the option of alternative specialist treatments.
Download your information pack today. Search Darwood and Tanner. Your smile is our healthy obsession.
Think of a breakfast muffin with sausage and egg. Yep, that's the one. You can see it, can't you? Deep in your mind. Sausage, egg, cheese, muffin. I don't even need to say its name, do I? Breakfast done properly. Served until 11 a.m.
Calling all young creatives. Kickstart your career in media. Apply now and join us in years 10 or 12 at Global Academy. globalacademy.com.
Octopus Energy. Great value and outstanding customer service. Recommended by which? 8 years running. Octopus Energy.
The Thameslink train is a place where you can have more me time. A chance to recharge yourself and your phone. To stretch out, sit back, and when you hear "all change please," you'll know you already have. Go with your flow with great deals at thameslinkrailway.com. Terms apply.
The Nick Ferrari Breakfast on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
The supposed publication of data of all sexual offenders, including their visa route. Jazz in Newham. Jazz, would you support that? Good morning.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to speak. I just want to highlight an area first. When I was 10, I'm 47 years old now. When I was 10, I remember a meeting in a temple, and the discussion was about Muslim young men grooming Sikh girls, and it was happening in the community then. They went to the police, I remember, and nothing much happened about it, but also people reporting it less to the fear of the embarrassment that happened to their daughters. But this was a problem when 20-odd years ago in the Sikh community, and particularly in Birmingham. I remember the temple in Birmingham, Muslim boys would go in there just to groom girls and then get their numbers and stuff and have conversations outside the temple, and then literally do what's happened to, unfortunately, to these white girls. So what I'm trying to say is there's a particular group, and they're mainly, I'm talking about the Sikh girls now, I don't know about the situation currently, but they're mainly from the Mirpuri Pakistani Muslims from mountain regions. They were mainly from that community. I don't know what the community is now, but for the Sikh girls, it was mainly that community. And there were girls were being passed around, and some of them were even kidnapped and taken to Pakistan and used in however they were used. It was disgusting, and I'm so glad this conversation is happening now. But it has to be recognised. A certain type of community, a certain type of individual is taking part in this type of activity.
But they're no more true Muslim than I am. That's not true Muslims, is it?
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm just, I belong to the Sikh.
Yes, I realise that. When you said temple, yes, I said. So do we need to know all the data upon conviction? Now, this doesn't matter, of course, whether they are supposedly Muslims or whether they're Albanians or whether they're Romanians. Do we need to know all that data, and if so, why?
100%. Data is king. With data, you can have a targeted approach. Yeah, with data, you can have a targeted approach. That's why there's so much harvesting data. Data is power. Data is king. It's worth more than crude oil. So if you can use data to really target and the communities or the people doing it, rather than have a blanket approach, that will be more effective than having just a sweeping blanket approach like all men are bad, for instance, as an example.
Jess, thank you for the input. Adam, you're going to be the next caller, but I want you to take you to the disaster that is HS2. Big piece in the Daily Telegraph today. Indeed, you'll hear from the author of that piece, the Associate Political Editor, Tony Diver, in just a moment. One headline jumps out at you. A ministerial task force set up to oversee the London terminal of HS2 never actually met. We're going to hear more in Parliament today from Heidi Alexander, the Transport Secretary, and I believe from the Prime Minister. You'll hear more from Tony Diver in a moment. But in the previous hour, I was speaking with a different minister, Housing Minister Matthew Pennycook. He told me, unfortunately, use the expression, lessons did need to be learned from this failure.
There was serious problems with HS2, both in terms of accountability, project overruns, costs. There are real lessons to be learned from that. I think HS2 and other infrastructure projects, it must be said, in the way they're handled, reflect very poorly on us for a country. Again, I'd bring you back to some of the reforms we're making. For example, the Planning and Infrastructure Bill, which I've just taken through the House of Commons, includes a number of changes that will speed up the consenting process for nationally significant infrastructure. The infrastructure strategy, which we're announcing later this afternoon, again seeks to reverse the frankly erratic decisions and underinvestment we've seen over the past 14 years before we came into power. So we do need to learn the lessons, take a different approach.
There's no shortage of lessons. Tony Diver is Associate Political Editor at The Telegraph and joins me now. And you chronicle in the paper today, this has dogged governments for years. Just remind listeners some of the problems they've encountered. Tony, good morning.
Good morning. Well, yeah, the project was first announced in 2009 by Gordon Brown, just before he left government. Pretty much every government since then has had problems with it. The cost has gone up from an estimated 20 billion when Brown first announced it to now officially about 66 billion, but there are some estimates that say it could be as high as 100 billion, which is about half the budget of the NHS. And throughout that time, there's been so many examples of fraud, wastage, error. The £100 million back tunnel is the one that jumps out most recently, which was revealed to us. It seems Labour's trying to get a grip of this problem and trying to put some clear water between them and the Tories. But obviously the question is whether or not they'll actually be able to turn it around and deliver it on time and on the new budget.
What do we think we're going to hear today, Tony?
Well, I think what we're going to get from Heidi Alexander is a dossier of what they describe as a litany of failure from the Tories. That's going to try and lift the lid on some of the stuff that HS2 has been quiet about over the last few years. I mean, you mentioned that ministerial task force on the Euston terminal that never met. We're also going to hear about a group of ministers, the Chief Secretary to the Treasury, the Transport Secretary and senior executives from HS2, where Labour says that some Tory ministers didn't even bother to turn up for those meetings, which were designed to keep the costs down and try and keep the project running on time. Alongside all of that, a lot of very complicated stuff about how the contracts are awarded. Labour says that it's now going to try and incentivise the contractors to deliver things on budget and on time. They say that the way that they've been drafted up until now basically means that contractors have been given carte blanche to do what they want and try and get as much money out of the taxpayer as they can.
Do you sense we're going to hear when the first train might come rumbling down the tracks?
I don't think so. I don't think Labour wants to tie themselves to that. We're not actually going to get a definite deadline. My sources are saying that we're looking at least 2 years for the first train beyond the current deadline of 2033. This is the first time that the government's admitting that that deadline has been delayed. But I expect probably we'll be waiting a few more months for the outcome of a full review by the Chief Executive of HS2 later in the year before we get that figure.
Tony, lastly, how realistic is to say we're now at a point that so much money has been sunk into this project that to actually scrap it, bizarrely, would make even less economic sense?
Well, yeah, one of the things we're going to hear today is that the Tories spent £2 billion on the two legs of HS2 where the construction hasn't even begun, on legal fees and consultations and all the rest of it. I think now that the construction has actually started between London and Birmingham, it would look very silly and very politically damaging to start scrapping it, but the costs just keep going up and up.
Full report with the timeline in today's Daily Telegraph. Thank you, Tony Diver, as Associate Political Editor of The Telegraph, with the chronicle of all of that. You will obviously hear that through the course of the day. It will be covered here on LBC, and I would imagine some of you want to get involved and have your say on that. But we're talking about these grooming gangs, two aspects really. The unknown, the uncontrolled, would appear to be the uncontrollable aspect of these illegal crossings, up 42% year on year. This is since Labour said they would smash the gangs. Did away with Rwanda. Would Rwanda have ever worked? Well, you'll never know. You'll just have to wonder about Rwanda because you will never know. It was scrapped without any viable alternative, save for setting up a squad, well-known policing expression, if in doubt, form a squad, and better intelligence and smash the gangs. The only thing that's been smashed are the records for arrivals. Adam's in Chelmsford. Adam, your say on this. Good morning.
You all right, Nick? How you doing?
I'm okay, sir. What are you going to tell me?
So yesterday, I've been listening to your show, obviously, about and everyone about the everyone coming in and all that. So I went into a corner shop yesterday, and there were two men standing there speaking foreign languages, and one of them spoke to the shopkeeper and said, "Oh, this is my buddy from Albania."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Anyway, got in the car, and I was behind them in my car, and we was driving along for about 10 minutes, and they kept slowing down. And I was like, why do they keep slowing down? And every single time I realised they were both sticking their heads out the window staring at schoolgirls.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
every time.
Yeah, that's not necessarily just going to be Albanians, sadly, is it? There's plenty of evidence other men regrettably are drawn to schoolgirls. Yeah. Do you think, now, of course, these people are not being convicted of any offence, but if anyone convicted upon offence, should we know their nationality and how they got here? And if so, why?
100%. I think they should all be deported. Any crime that they come into our country and commit, they should be deported, and we should know who they are and where they're from.
It's the lawyers, lastly, Adam. They stop those deportations, don't they? They'll discover that they might be in danger in their homeland, or they don't like chicken nuggets.
It's crazy. Like, the whole system's just mad. Like, we ran the thing. I thought it was a good idea, but
well, we'll never know. Was it a good idea? I absolutely see the arguments against it. Of course I do.
Yeah.
But we will never ever know. And I do think now that this government really is looking all at sea over this. Complete failure. Adam, thank you for your story. John's in Coventry. John, your reaction to this? Good morning.
Morning, Nick. You're a very erudite chap, and I don't know if I'm seeing this the wrong way around, but maybe you can tell me. But if I was somebody in another country who had a long criminal record and I wanted a fresh start, I would probably just jump in a boat and turn up in England. And then when you get here, you're not going to change your sort of attitude, are you? You're going to be the same person with a new start and start all over again. So, I mean, if you compare it to going to Benidorm, if I go in and I've got 100 mil of extra fluids, I'll get stopped from going on the plane, or if the documentation's not right, I miss my flight and it costs me hundreds of pounds of water, whatever. But on the other hand, people who we don't know nothing about are quite open to coming to the country. If you pay somebody £5,000, that's almost a ticket to a new life. Well, it is a ticket to a new life. You could be looking at
throw your passport over into the channel as you come across.
But this is the thing. Why is nobody looking at this? I'm not saying all migrants are like that and all the rest of it, but it's a very big draw for people who have a lot of criminal history.
Well, we shouldn't make it such an attractive country. There should not be the level of benefits and accommodation that's given to these people the minute they set foot in Dover. I'm sorry to sound harsh about it, but it has to happen.
I just think there's no oversight. I think you hear these stories of people professing to be 15-year-old children and they turn out to be 27 and stuff like that, and you think, why are we putting our kids at the risk? Why are we doing it to our own country time and time again? It's the same story over and over again.
Because we're too craven and weak-willed to take any direct action. John, thank you. And even the idea of the Rwanda scheme was too tough for the human rights barrister who is our Prime Minister. John, thanks. Jay in Saffron Walden. Nice part of the world. Jay, what are you going to tell me? Good morning.
Hi, Nick. I'm a bit upset with your callers right now. It's like a kind of vigilante. He's following the car, he's tailgating them, and then watching them what they're doing. It's just a made-up story. It's just a made-up story. That's what happens.
I mean, hang on. We don't know that Adams is a made-up story. What we need to say is that, regrettably, there will be plenty of British-born men who will be staring at schoolgirls. Sadly,
yeah.
That's the reality.
Anyway, we don't know that. Imagine when your dad arrived here, from Switzerland with Italian, and he was branded as a mobster, because that time the Al Capone was killing people. He was a mobster. So you were Italian, right? That's what would be branded. And before that, Jews will be branded as stealing everything, all the jobs. And Nazi Germany started uprising.
But we want women to be safe in this country.
Blaming somebody. Sorry?
We want women to be safe in this country, Jim.
No, but now, next thing you're going to say, I think no one used that word before, they're eating cats, they're eating the dogs. I think that you're going to start using that. I mean, in America, but in America, Mexicans eating dogs and cats. Here it's all the migrants are
Lastly, Jay, and that is something I discussed with Abdullah and Bradford, but this would be upon conviction, so this wouldn't be just some man.
what he meant is, why you should prosecute them. That's what he meant. It's like you're trying to cancel the Christmas and Daily Mail branding us like, oh, we don't like Christmas. Like, that's what you're doing.
Honestly, I'm not suggesting you don't like Christmas, Jay, but I hear what you say about those concerns, and that is something that I've expressed. Jay, be well. Thank you for calling. Coming up after the news. Well, imagine being a rich man or woman owed about $1 billion or many, many millions in the bank, and you're part of the exodus from this country after the non-dom policy. Now, reportedly, a U-turn on the way. We'll have more on that after this. It's 8:46 LBC News Headlines. Thomas